welcome to this week's episode of OffSet's Out of the Box. My name is Nush Lois. Out of the Box is an interview series where we interview some of the most interesting music educators who are doing things differently and essentially thinking out of the box. Our guest for today's episode is Kamakshi Khurana. Kamakshi is the co-founder of The Sound Space. Trained in Indian classical music as a child, paired with her credentials in psychology, Kamakshi at The Sound Space works on sound and its immense power and therapeutic aspects. She promotes Indian classical music amongst children and youngsters in a fun and approachable fashion. Welcome, Kamakshi, and thank you for having this conversation with us.
Thank you, Nush. It's lovely to be here having this chat with you.
Yeah. Let me begin by saying, when I was made aware of your school and what you all did, the first thing that caught my attention was how you have adapted Hindustani classical music teaching for children. We all know that for years, Indian classical music is taught in a very traditional manner. So what inspired you guys to go into this format?
So this is like my most pet thing to talk about.
I'm sure.
One is, I was always, I grew up in a musical family. So we grew up listening to music. Like even now when I live in my father's house, in the morning, there's a rag playing. And, in the evening, we will be listening to, Hari Prasad ji, or, somebody. It's a very natural part of our upbringing. And every time we listen to music, we were always made aware of its, not just the technical aspect of it, which tends to happen in Hindustani classical.
Yes.
This is the rag and you can't go out of the rag and, all of that stuff. But we were given the opportunity to understand Indian music in our daily living. And the kind of effect it had in our lives, So that's where we took it up from. But of course, I did my formal education and I learned from a wonderful Guruji who also taught me the traditional things, but she also had a very forward way of thinking. She kind of made it a very Gurukul format for us. We could go and talk to her about anything. And even today we can, So music was not just about the right, wrong, technical, surila bit. It became more like a life thing. And that's what inspired us. And we said, we're going to break this and we're going to just bring it to children. And Nush, I can't tell you, we were just talking today and we said that the number of children who still keep coming back to class year on year on year is what is our main achievement.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because that is when you know it's working.
Yeah. And I tell the parents and I tell the other children, I said, don't worry if you're not getting it. You will get it. Just keep coming back to it and keep enjoying it and keep looking out for it. I have some of my students, they're texting me, oh, this Ustad ji played this. Kamakshi Didi, what are your opinions? And I said, this is exactly what we have worked on. And this is what's happening, So that's how we were intrigued. We tried it. We tested it. And then finally now it's still always, the generations keep moving and we keep seeing changes.
Yeah.
Always year on year, you have to keep building it. But I think
adapting to fit into the space.
Like now we are adapting.
Yeah,
When absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, what I thought was very interesting, because the thing is, for me, I've seen this kind of teaching only in Western, in terms of for early years. I've seen it because I've learned it and I've done it, but I've never seen it done for Indian classical music. So when I saw something like this, and just to kind of see even the usage of like hand signs and those kind of things, which is a very Kodaly and Orff method of teaching, to see that adapted here just blew my mind. And I mean, I really hope that, you're able to just take this forward to a lot more schools, to a lot more children. And it's
another thing. Yeah. There's another thing I feel is that, the more we delve into music education and Indian music, I feel like all music is actually the same, right? In its essence,
Yes.
And yeah, and so I use this because I know this and I love this, but it's all moving towards the same
Yeah.
direction is
Yes.
what I think,
Yeah.
So
The
adapting,
packaging is
using the best of all.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you also work, your school also works with a couple of NGOs and aids their schools with teachers and resources. I was lucky enough to interact with some of your teachers and watch them work, and I must say, very impressed. Can you give us some insight into the teacher training that takes place for these models?
Yeah. So for us, it's the same. It is, this format is, you are going into the classroom. You are not going into the classroom as just a teacher. You are going there as an influencer. So whether you are teaching math, or you're teaching science, or you're teaching whatever you're teaching, that I'm teaching music, that's my medium. That's what I know. If someone asked me to teach math, the children will probably run out of the classroom. But use your but this is what I believe in. I believe that education is so important. From my experience as a child, and how it was so rough for me in school, because I used to think out of the box. I didn't want to follow the rules, so this is what I tell the teachers, and that's where they watch us. They watch Vishala and me, and they learn that we're actually engaging with these students. It's not, like I said, it's not about the right and wrong, or the good and bad. It's about how you can bring out the best in each person. And so that's what the teachers training for us at the sound space. We believe that each one has their own USP, and that we try and tap on for these teachers. Of course, the process is long and it's rigorous, and these guys sometimes lose their patience with us, because we say no, 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 and then finally, "Are Didi, itni baar kar liya, ab kya hai?" I said no, but it's still not okay. Vishala will come in and say, no, you can do this better. So and I think these girls who we have on board with us are so hardworking and adaptive. It's amazing. Even now they're working with this online, and they're making videos for the children because they don't want to miss out connecting with the children. So
that's fantastic.
I think.
No, because I did get to interact with some of them, and I think what I loved was, and I met them at like a bunch of schools, like the same 2-3 girls, and it was the same level of enthusiasm, the same techniques, and I love the kind of stuff, like even to just get a class to pay attention, the small things that they did without having to be like, be quiet, which is which is a huge issue in a lot of our systems, is this constant like telling kids what to do. But like getting them distracted with snapping and with clapping and those kind of things. I mean, they're small things. And then of course, when they started singing in class with the kids, because if I was taking time to set up, what they were doing was they were getting the children to perform a song for me. And that again, like, I mean, which is something that I adored, seeing children and those many kids in these government schools that were singing these beautiful songs, whether they were little folk songs or something like that. I think that is, and at the core, that's the aim of what we're all trying to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The next thing I want to dive into the sound, and is the sound and the music therapy. I've managed to catch a few of your Instagram live sessions, which are absolutely beautiful. Can you tell us a little about that, and how did that come about?
So a couple of things came together. One is Vishala and my father. Vishala is a co-founder of the Soundspace. I've been mentioning her quite a bit. My father was a mainstream artist, and then he kind of slowly, as we were growing, started talking, and we always were aware of this power that music has. That's why we say the sound is the power of sound. There is a certain power. The way I'm talking to you, my tone of voice. I mean, as musicians, we're also sensitive to that, right? So we know that there is something that is there in sound. do we bring this together? The option was to get into the mainstream singing and to do all of that. And then suddenly I kind of stepped into it, and then I realized, I said, you know what, I can do a lot more with my art, and I can bring it to people. I can share it with people. And then just with regular classes, I could see that there are children, some children having difficulties, or some adults, old age, they were getting so, they were feeling so positive with music. And then I said, let's give this direction. Dad was researching the chakras and the beach mantras and sound therapy. So we got into that research and sort of took it from there. And now we even apply this in our classrooms. Even if it's a regular class, we see how we can really help the children through the music.
Yeah.
Because all of us are facing something that we have to either escape from or have to face. And this form is so beautiful that it can really give us a little bit more than just singing. No, and if we're made aware of that singing, even that group singing, if you do it with awareness, it has such a, I mean, what is bhajan singing or choir singing or church singing? It's group singing.
Yes.
And that's the therapy angle comes in. And now, of course, we've formalized it, and that kind of thing.
And like you said, there's a lovely sense of community when you're doing it together. And it's not whether you are in that moment. Yes, I mean, we're all looking to get our notes right or whatever, but at the same time, I think we cherish that experience of singing with not with just one or two people, but with a large number of people. And I think that is something that I think now today a lot of people are missing, is that physical connection with people. But of course, thanks to technology, we're able to also still experience a bit of that on an online situation as well. Because like I said, when I came onto one of your Instagram lives, it was a very beautiful experience, and it was just so nice to kind of, it felt like we were in a room with people who were doing it, and people were putting up little questions and things like that. So I mean, I think that wraps it up for our 4th episode of Out of the Box. Thank you so much, Kamakshi, for having this conversation. It has been an eye-opener, and I want to continue having more conversations with you, because I think what you guys have done is such a beautiful evolution of Indian music teaching, and it's so nice to see it adapted into a situation where everyone can relate to it now. And for everyone who's watching, we'll see you next week with another innovative educator. Thank you so much, Kamakshi, for joining us.
Thank you, Nash, for having me. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The kids of the sound space, a big round of applause, please.